TTRPGs, games so many, rules countless, a hobby so vast. Pre-written modules, homebrew content, one-shots, campaigns lasting for years, my group, your group.
But whose fantasy are you even running?
For all the GMs out there, this is a serious question that I'm asking. And if your answer, regardless if you wrote the material, is anything except saying mine with a smile or smirk on your face, you need to hear me out. So let's first define the word fantasy and figure out what it really means when I say your fantasy. One definition of fantasy that I found online is that it is a faculty or activity of imagining impossible or improbable things. That is for sure what we're doing around the table, but there is also another definition that I found. A fanciful image, typically one on which a person dwells and which reflects their conscious or unconscious wishes. Can you read that again, word for word, and rethink your answer? Does the thing you're running really reflect your wishes? Does it follow a fanciful image on which you often dwell? If you're not sure, or the answer is not really, you need to understand one thing. You're not running your fantasy, you're running theirs, your players. And that is fine, I do it all the time, but understand that you're doing an act of service. Think of what you're getting back. Maybe it's the company of your friends, maybe that is enough. The high that you get from a great session. I mean, acts of service don't always require something in return, but sometimes it gets tiring. Are you tired? We are at war. War for our own imagination. A war against these very sophisticated machines that serve us content that put us in a tug of war between a need for just one more swipe and doing something better, something more personal. To be honest, I play a role as both sides of this war. For one, I am also a consumer. I also shave my brain by swiping for hours on end, but I'm also a content creator. And for you, I am what the machine has served you today. I am your enemy. I'm giving you an illusion. I'm giving you an illusion of value for your time. I mean, sure, I've put a substantial amount of work into this. I wrote the script, I will edit this video, I came outside in rain to film in a pile of garbage in a rundown factory. So, in my opinion, it can definitely be called art. It feels better saying it like that, right? You're not watching Mr. Beast or some other weirdo that prides himself for being the most popular among the kids. You're watching me, Andrew, some random TTRPG YouTuber talking about art. But what you're doing is outsourcing your imagination to me and other dungeon tubers, waiting for us to inspire you, mindlessly going through a ton of content in hope that it will align enough with your fantasy or your playstyle so you can use it in your game. Now, you're probably thinking that I'm going to tell you how you should decrease your screen time, don't be a servant to the algorithms, just look within. Imagination is your platform. First of all, fuck no, I'm a Gen Z kid making videos on YouTube in a freaking forest. Of course I'm not going to tell you to stop ingesting brain rot. Second, what was that about imagination? What is imagination? The faculty or activity of imagining impossible or improbable things. Okay, we've heard that one already, so let's dig deeper. What is imagining? To form a mental image or concept. So imagination is not your platform really, but it's an activity of internal content creation. We're still not there. Imagining triggers while you're reading too and listening to a story, so it's still kind of involuntary, right? But if that's your internal content creation, what is your platform then? Let's attack this from another angle. Anyone with a creative urge, be it performance, writing, designing or painting, will feel something nice when the product of their creative urge has been indulged by an audience. This is where imagination becomes your real content creation. And that is pretty much what the definition of creativity is. the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. We be dungeon masters, which means that we yearn for creative output. Those who are performers will create unforgettable NPCs and roleplay them as real actors. Those who are writers will think of relationships, sceneries, homebrew whole worlds. Mad GM scientists, designers, and rule hackers will tear whole systems apart and redesign them. Painters will create character art for all the PCs. And we get our platform once a week, once a month, couple of months. We present our creativity to an audience, our lovely players. But as a YouTuber, I have to ask you, do you feel the difference between those videos that the creator really wanted to make and those that were made just to keep the lights on? I mean, it is visible on my channel more than the big ones, I think. I don't put, or I can't put that much work into videos that I don't really feel, the fire for. I don't feel excited on camera, sometimes I'm even nervous, and the audience feels that. They feel that the fantasy is not there. The trick is that what our true fantasy is not always clear as day. Sometimes you need to, lure it out almost like a snail out of its shell. Just wait, and as it comes out, you have to catch it, take a note of it, really feel it emotionally, and only then can you actually use it. That process is the act of revering or daydreaming. Daydreaming is really hard sometimes. I've tried making a video on this before. I didn't really know how to put it into words back then, so I just called it staring at the wall. We all daydream a little bit, but do you ever feel like your daydreams are short, like lacking, a strange itch interrupts them? Or do you get an idea while daydreaming and jump straight to Googling it or to YouTube to learn more about it and flesh it out? You had a cool monster pop up in your head and you're already creating a character sheet and stat block for it. These are the wounds from the war I mentioned before, my friend. And don't give me some, oh, I have ADHD type of crap. Just look at it like this. If you really have ADHD or you get bored easily, you need to do something with your hands, well, or you get an idea and you immediately need to start working on it, you probably do a lot of things on your computer. You probably don't focus on one topic all the time, but you have 17 tabs open and you're just jumping from rabbit hole to rabbit hole. Well, in that case, look at it like this. You're still doing all of that on one piece of online platform, in one hardware, so to say, be it your phone or your computer. Your brain is that piece of hardware, your mind is that online platform, and you don't need to think about your game all the time. If you're into TTRPGs, the inspiration will come, even if just for a second. It's just important that you stay in your thoughts. The only reason why you struggle to do so is because you don't get the same dopamine hit as from scrolling. I swear some men discovered daydreaming and made a trend out of raw dogging long flights. Credit where credit is due, I can't raw dog a flight, not a chance, not even a single 2-hour one. Hell, I put my headphones on as soon as I leave the house. I listen to music the whole time I'm working. Anyways, I wanted to share what my daydreaming routine looks like. And the best thing is, you can do it from anywhere at any time. I'm making a fucking tutorial on how to daydream. That is so freaking dystopian. So I said you can do it from anywhere at any time, but everyone has a place and time that works the best for them. So my tier list is commute, planes, buses, cars, anything where I can really just look out of the window, zone out, and daydream. 10 out of 10 would recommend. In the shower, that is definitely the second one on my tier list. You know how shower thoughts are? You come up with some strange stuff under there. But the only downside is taking notes. So I use this very waterproof scuba diving notebook to take notes under there, but you don't really have to do it. I'm just sick in the head like that. Also, no, I don't shower with my clothes on. This is just for YouTube. If you want to see a bit more, go to my OnlyFans, link in the description. Being at my home or at my work desk doesn't really work for me that well. Usually I would just go around the house pacing, talking to myself, or I would go into full doodle mode like I did in my single-page prep videos. Doing it in my bed just doesn't work, bottom of the tier list, and Zhucha agrees. When it comes to the time of day, I actually have two modes where I can get stuff done, and those two are: in the morning, I am much better at thinking about structure of the session. I can organize notes, lay down some groundwork, or go over old daydream ideas. I'm not very good at daydreaming in the morning. It's more of a logical part of the day, that if that makes sense. Afternoon and night, this is where I start feeling like a completely different creative beast. I don't really know how it works for other people though. And now that we've covered when and where, we can dive into the how and why. So, my daily driver is music, but for some it might be looking at a painting or a tip of a flame, or just gazing out of the window if you're a creep. I make a playlist of songs that match the setting and intensity of whatever I'm running at the time. So I will put on some Hellraiser soundtrack or dark jazz for horror, maybe something like Fawn, you know Fawn? The Hex album is just, oh my god, I love it for fantasy. Also Almighty, I like that as well. Although I might go into some power metal if I'm imagining like a fight with a dragon or something intense like that. I always carry a notebook, but lately I find it more convenient to just use my phone because it syncs with the rest of my notes. I have set up a note app that allows me to write one sentence at a time. Just a couple of words per entry, crucial. I have one of these for each project I'm working on, not just my games. Resist the urge to flesh that out. Resist the urge to use your phone for anything else, for that matter. Just write the minimal amount needed to get back into that mental moment. Write down which music went with it well. Just do associations, basically. Ideas can be completely disconnected. Don't try to make too much sense of it all. I like to think of it as a repository of cool ideas that get me going. I zone out into the song. Imagine a scene with that song in the background, just to let the inspiration come on its own. First, all the noise will come. Thoughts on work, stuff you gotta do, all the errands you have to run. But then the brain farts start. Dumb stuff, imagining everyday scenarios, remembering a meme. Oh, my friend would love to see this meme. Let's stop! Do not give in! I know I have a problem, and I know the majority of people owning this existential crisis rectangle have it too. Always at this point, I have an insanely strong urge to do something on my phone, check my emails, send a meme to my friend, check YouTube Studio. You will try to resist. Sometimes you will fail, going back to square one. But every time you throw that phone, it gets a little bit easier. When you push through, resist the urge, and dive back into the brain fart highway, it will eventually take you to the daydream palace. In these moments, in this state, I try to imagine the scene that would go with this soundtrack and just hunt for details. Imagine my NPCs, imagine how they would live, laugh, love. Imagine fight scenes, imagine little plants that would grow, anything that I can hunt for, collect, and put in my log. And then I hunt for goosebumps. Goosebumps are a good measure if it will work around the table. If I manage to create the same feeling around the table with the same idea I got from daydreaming in its full glory, that's how I know I've mastered the technique of extracting what's in my mind and presenting it to my players. Side note here, you will eventually start imagining your players doing these crazy action scenes, and to be fair, in combat these action scenes will be much slower, much more sluggish, and much less cool when you think about the passage of time, but that's okay. You will take these scenes and recycle them as a cutscene, as something that a cool NPC does. It doesn't matter. All the cool scenes from your thought factory can be used in one way or another, even if just as a baseline for what you want from your sessions. You will become more confident in your imagination. You will start to feel the dopamine hit from your own ideas. You will understand that the ideas are cheap and you are the X factor. Anytime you sit somewhere in a waiting room or you're just bored, you can dive into your inner world and fetch something that is as good as the thing before it. You will start noticing inspiration from all sources. You will start to harvest it all from movies, from books, from even other songs, from situations that you see on the street. And your prep will become easier. Just find a way to connect some of these cool ideas that you have in your repository, and okay, yeah, some will sit on the shelf for a long time, but that is okay. At some point, you might just dust them off, smile and say, now this is the one. Now you're finally running your fantasy. And when the fantasy is yours, truly yours, your players will feel it. Congratulations, you finally gave yourself permission to dream at the table too.